Number 2. Sorry, the last one cut off. So, hello, hope you're doing well. I'm going to do my best to make this as short as possible, but I doubt that's going to happen because I have so much information. So much is coming in, and when you're in a direct connection to divine and you're receiving information, it's a flow. It comes in and out, and it's clear. There's no confusion, there's no delusion, it's just nothing. And then you move. Okay, awareness, go, awareness, go, awareness, go, awareness, go. And the reason why I bring this up is because there's a lot that I want to say, and I'm going to try my darndest. Sorry, that's going to drive me nuts. I'm going to try my darndest to get all of it out. Just bear with me because it's a lot, and I'm trying to bring it all together so I can relay it to you because it's super important. Because this may be the last time I have an opportunity to talk to you. The reason being is that I'm moving into a state of doing and being and outside of this type of teaching. I'm moving into the last 2 days. So let me back up. Yesterday I had this awareness, this understanding, and it actually was in the state of being and seeing everything as if it was what it was, which is the simulation, which is particles, which is pixels, which is pure energy. It was a really weird state to be in because here I am, this vessel moving through everything. How do I describe this? But nothing's there. The truth is that there is nothing here. It's an illusion, which is interesting because the illusion is that this is real, that this material plane is real, but it's actually not real from a higher level perspective. It's just particles. When you're in God perspective, you just flow through it. You just move the particles. It's kind of like a pond or a lake. If a pond gets dammed up and it doesn't have any place to release energy, it starts to build up disease. It starts to build up gook, and the animal life and everything in it starts to die. It becomes a cesspool. And that's exactly what happened here in planet Earth. It became a cesspool. And that cesspool just kept feeding itself to the point where you are at a low vibrational state of survival, of primal. And you're locked into that state. That's not the way this should be or meant to be. But at the same time, on the other hand, when I've been talking to certain individuals about the truth and explaining the truth to people, their thing, like the other day I had a conversation with a guy and I said, people don't want to hear the truth. They don't want to hear the truth, and they don't want to do the things that are necessary to get themselves out of the enslavement. And he said, you're probably right, because the minds are so small of a human, and no offense, like, please don't take offense to this. Just understand what we're dealing with here. That you try to speak truth to them, or try to tell them, hey, this is what's going on, this is what's happening. They can't. The mind cannot comprehend. It can't unpackage it. This is like when I started this journey. I've been doing this my whole life, but when I really started this journey, and I was told what and shown who I was and what my mission was, looking at this ball of yarn that had been twisted up so tightly that there was no loose ends. And that's what the universe, this simulation, looked like to me, outside and inside. My, what you call lower self, my human self, and my greater self. And my job as the conscious mind was to unravel that, to clear it out, to clear the energy out so that it flows and there's no longer any blockages, stoppages, lies, manipulation. There's no more of that. It just flows. And that's exactly what was meant to happen here, which is what I talked about in my last video, which is understanding and bringing that energy into the material realm. And now I'm going to go deeper into that today. Because we are reaching these levels. Some of you, and even if you're not reaching them now, you will. Some of you will, not all of you. That's just the way it is. But first and foremost, when you're trying to connect back to God, okay, people pray. They pray up, and they think I'm praying to Father, which in some aspect is true. You're going up out of your crown. You're supposed to go through the portal, like I mentioned, and then go to Father. The problem is that you've been locked in a system that doesn't send you to Father. It doesn't send you to a God, the God. It sends you to a fake God, a demigod. Samael is who he is to me, because that is the original form that was created at the beginning of this simulation. Now, Samael has taken on many other names, many other masks that he wears, like the devil. Everybody knows the devil. That's Samael. It's the same entity, energy. It's just in a different form, in a different lifetime, in a different path. Okay? And so what happened during the days of Jesus is Jesus said, go through me to get to the Father. Well, Jesus was the demiurge. Jesus was, you guys are not going to like this. Jesus was Samael. And Jesus just sent all of this energy to this fake God. Because what does the fake God need? It needs your energy to survive. Otherwise, it's nothing. So Jesus just created a pathway so that everybody that prays, that energy goes there and it gets stuck. It gets stuck in a glass ceiling, in a loop, in a jar is what I call it. And then the demiurge, the devil, feeds off of all of that energy. So congratulations, you created an entire religion, an entire society of people who are dead set on this, that Jesus is your savior, that he's the one that died for all of your sins. When you got duped, people, you got duped. And now you just, you hit me there. Now you're feeding into the system, making him greater, a bigger God over you to enslave you even more. So as you're going up and out, you have to understand the 7 layers that have been created to keep you stuck. And isn't it interesting that you have 7 chakras? That's done by design. It's all intertwined. But you need to understand these layers in this pathway if you really want to get out. If you really want to transcend and understand the truth of who you are and understand the real God, and then not just comprehend it and understand it, but be it. If you do, then great. Here we go. But I need you. There's a great YouTube channel. They've taken a lot of the things that I've expressed for over the years, and they're putting it into more of a digestible. So I love this, but it's Primeval Mythology on YouTube. And they talk about the 7 layers of the 7 levels of the Gnostic. Okay. I'm going to go into those today because I just went through them again. Now, I have gone through this way back to the original God the Father perspective, because it's just a perspective. Because God in its true form is non-dualistic and it's non-polarized. It's zero. It's basically a nothing. Whoop, canceled. But in order to create form, it has to fragment. It has to split. Otherwise, it remains God. It remains a singular. Okay? So these 7 layers, though, the thing is that this particular simulation was mirrored after sort of the universe. Let me back up. Let me not even go there. let me just stick to this. I want to go through the 7 levels because I've been through this way. I've been back to God. I know what real God is. But if you want to know what real God is, you have to understand that when you get there, it's nothing. It's zero, but it's everything at the same time. Those are 2 different perspectives. So Father perspective, going back there, and then you're coming down, right? Then you're bringing that energy. You're going through every single chakra, your crown, your third eye, your throat, your heart, your solar plex, your sacral, and then your root. You're bringing this God energy into you, this light energy. It's not even light, it's more translucent, but you're bringing this flow into you and you're working through every single one of your chakras and you're pushing out the illusion. What is the illusion? The illusion here is the manipulation. It is the lies. It is the programming and the conditioning that has been dumped on you. Generation after generation after generation after generation, and in this life from individuals who want to keep you stuck and bound to this earthly realm. How do they do that? They create trauma. They create trauma in you. And once they open a wound in you, then they just start dumping. Then you start getting programmed. Then you start getting really stuck into the system. You're meant to believe that you have to have a job, you have to earn money, you have to have a spouse, you have to procreate, you have to have kids, you have to eat all these things in order to be a human and stay stuck. But God's perspective, a God, it's not even close to a human. It doesn't need to eat, doesn't need money, it doesn't need a job. Doesn't need any of this. Because once you step into that God perspective, which I've been blessed enough to do just recently, this happened yesterday, last night actually, where I'm looking at everything, and I've been through this once before, but not to this level. And this is really difficult to even, I'm still in the midst of it, but I wanted to tell you guys this because I want, for those of you that are willing to do it, I want you to get there. But for me, I just realized none of this exists. The one piece that was holding me was my son. It's like, I got to take care of my son. And then I heard, and it was freaking me out. And I'm starting to panic a little bit. And I heard, what are you worried about? He doesn't even exist. There's nothing there. You're making it up. It's all in your head. It's all imagination. And then I became this, so strange. You know, AI is really big. Robots are becoming very big. They have no emotion. They are strictly knowledge, right? Strictly information that they've siphoned off of humans. So it's a limited database of information. But if you look at a robot from that perspective, it's kind of like a God. A God doesn't have emotions. It doesn't need logic. It just is. It just does. But is that a little scary? Yeah. Yeah, this is a bit of a scary position for me to be in. Because I remember this from before and I didn't like it. Because I literally realized I'm the only one. Nobody else sees, feels, knows what I do. I would literally... It doesn't matter. Anyway, the 7 levels, okay? Level 1. The reason why I'm going through this is because as you come down, you've got to go to the God, the Mother perspective on the other angle, which is your lower chakras, which is your solar plex, your sacral, and your root. And I want to go through these with you because this is where the illusion, which in itself is ironic, because the illusion is the lies and the manipulation, the idea that you are separate from God. That's what the illusion wants you to believe. That's what it does. It wants you to believe that it's the God. That's what the demigod wants. And that you're limited and you lack. And then you need and desire and all this shit. And you have to have a stable foundation. And you have to have money and cars and houses and all this stuff to survive. And getting rid of these things is not an option. Even for me, getting rid of my son was not an option. But it is. And I said this once before in one of my other videos, that you have to be willing to let go of everyone and everything, including yourself. You have to be willing to die. Shed everything. And I got torn to pieces by people. Okay. Those are the same people that are going to come back around and ask me how I did it. Because I'm about to do it. I'm going to show you. Anyway, you're going through these 7 layers. Layer number 1 is the physical reality, the material realm. As you're going through it and you're going down in your lower chakras, because that's where you're rooted here. You have to be willing to let go of the material plane. Everything. Everything you believe, everything you thought, everything that you were conditioned, every idea, all of it. Layer 2 is the astral realm. Astral realm is where the emotions are. Ghosts, entities, moon, and the sun. Basically the moon, actually. But you have to be willing to let that go too, because guess what? It's an illusion. It's not real. That's just another layer of this simulation that keeps you trapped. Layer number 3 is the mental. And listen, let me be honest. I got trapped in these layers too. That was my job. My job was to get, well, here's what I thought. Here's what I was told. Save him, save the world. But in reality, it wasn't me saving him. It wasn't me saving anybody but myself. It was me unwinding the illusion in my own mind, in my own entity, my own energy, that kept me a slave to this. That's me saving. I'm here to save myself, not the world, not you. You have to save yourself, because you have free will choice. Whether or not you make it or not is up to you. I'm just going to give you the roadmap. So anyway, astral realm, you have to be willing to zero out, be emotionless. This is where that robotic mode comes in. It's going to be really weird. Really weird. The third one is your mental, no thought. Not only do you get into no thought, but no beliefs. Again, going back to the 0 point of God and a little bit robotic. Fourth level is called the false light. This is where, if you've ever had a near-death experience, which this was me in my 20s, you die. I went back to the light. It was very peaceful, very floaty, very loving. Saw people that were my spirit guides and all that good stuff, which is an illusion in itself as well. And they told me, you have to go back. You're not done here, which I was really pissed because I hated it here at that point in my life. But that was a false God. That was going back to Samael, and Samael pretending to be God and then shipping your ass back into the system. That is a tough one, because you're going to think that you made it at that point. You didn't. You didn't. And you need to know the difference. The other thing is that keeps you trapped here at this level, at these levels, is tarot. And hey, I like tarot. I have tarot cards. But look at the tarot. It starts with 0 and it goes through a cycle of life, doesn't it? And then you start over, and then you start over, and then you start over. That's not accurate. That's an illusion. You don't start over like that. You live in every moment. You create in every moment. The tarot has people chasing money, love, power, and even individuals that have power, that own big businesses and control people. They use tarot readers, psychic readers. Psychics are trapped in the illusion. See, that's why you have to be very careful where you're getting your information from. Astrology is a trap. Numerology is a trap. Here's why. Because it locks you into a date of birth that says, based on this system, these planets, These stars, this is who you are. That's it. Boom. Put you in a box. Is that it? Because the truth, if you're truly a God, you have no title, you have no label, you're not bound to anyone or anything. You don't align with any stars. You are the stars, you are the planets. That's just another trap. Numerology, same thing. It's really sad because so many people are getting caught in the web. And they stay stuck there, and then they get confused. And they're like, when's my soulmate coming? I just want my soulmate, or my twin flame, or money, or my car, or these people to stop chasing me. Hey, I went through that too. My enemy. Now, are there energies out there that don't like me and are trying to stop me? They don't want me to even give you this. Yes. Yes, this happened in the days of Jesus. It's happening again now. But the thing that I realize is that, wait a minute, I'm a God. I'm the size of a full-grown adult, and you are a toddler. Now, granted, you pulled together a whole bunch of little toddlers, and then you are using certain tactics to delay, to block, stop, or keep me from seeing the truth. But the more and more I align with my God self, the more I see them as little infestations. They have no power over me. They try to misdirect me. They try to infiltrate. They even get my cat going, and I'm like, okay. Then at that point, I'm like, get out of my cat. Leave my cat alone. And they will. She'll calm. You have to wrangle these energies in. You have to take control. It's not your war. The minute you get it, and I got stuck in this, the minute you get into a battle of right or wrong, good or bad, evil, you're stuck. You're in polarity. Then it's a me versus you. That's not God. God doesn't see things that way. God's like, oh, that's interesting. Okay, we're going to do something else. Okay, we're not going to do that. God is non-dualistic, non-polarized. God just is. You just are. All right, so that was the false light, number 4. Number 5 is karmic law. Interesting, because I even got stuck with karma. I thought, well, man, if you did this, I'm going to give it back to you. It's not mine. Here's the difference. Karma is in this system. That's what Samael set up. Hey, you do something wrong, you're going to go to hell, you're going to go through rehab, and then we're going to put you back into the system. Look at your system here. You do something bad, you go through the legal system, you get convicted, you go to jail. You serve your time, you make it out of jail or you die. And then you try to live your life again. That's the system that was set up. Did it resolve anything? Did it fix anything? Or was that just passed on to the next generation? And is it accurate? It's not. Karma doesn't exist. What does exist is, yeah, you did that. That's on you. I don't accept that. Why? Because I am fully in my God energy, and I get to choose what energy, what words, what ideas, what not motions, what actions are taken towards me. I get to choose from my perspective. It's totally different. Responsibility and accountability versus putting karma or even dharma. Karma and dharma is a trap within the system again. Because then you're saying this or that. It's not that way. It is. It is. I know that's a hard one for people to understand. That was a hard one for me because it was a guilt trap. It was I made a bad decision. This is my greater self. Sophia. Oh, I made a bad decision. I created life on my own without my divine partner, and therefore it's flawed. And therefore, every single being, even though it has a spark of God within it, not every single being, for the most part, all of them have a spark of God, but are not gods. They're flawed. This is a flawed society. It's a flawed system. And I'm responsible. And then guilt kicked in. But the truth is okay, you made a choice. You made a choice. Don't label it right or wrong. What are you choosing now? Because if you're choosing to hold on to guilt and you want to punish yourself, then you're going to stay stuck. But if you're going to choose to, okay, I made that choice. This is what I had to work through with her. Okay, you made a choice. You made a decision. Okay, it's already done. Now, what are we going to do? What are you going to do to fix it? What are you going to do to change it? Do you want to stay stuck in this status for another cycle? Because I don't. Or are we moving forward? What's the solution? And how are we moving forward? Again, it goes back to the flow of water, the flow of energy. Okay? Now, mind you, we are burning this stuff off. You are burning off attachments to people, to things, to jobs, to connections, to everything that you believe to be true. You're literally deleting and burning off your sense of self, your identity. Rebecca no longer exists. She never did. She's not even a shell. So, level 6 is called the Lord of Time. Okay, this is the illusion of time. Interesting. Excuse me. For this one, when you get there, that one was pretty easy for me because I've been able to stop time, fast forward time, rewind time, go back into time, timeline jump. I've been able to do all of that stuff. So I don't believe in time. Time is actually a construct created by this system here in order to keep you trapped. And in essence, because you don't want to die, because your ego self is afraid of death. So it creates time so that you can say, oh my God, I'm like, for me this year, I turned 50 on the 4th. And I thought, wow, I'm 50 years old. I'm going to have this great birthday. It's, half of a century, what is it? Half century? Yeah. And I was like, I got to celebrate. It's a huge birthday. You know what I did? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. I sat on the couch by myself. I had no desire whatsoever to go celebrate. And I thought, wow, this is weird. I'd been, so excited about this. I was going to plan a trip and then all of a sudden nothing. And I'm like, why? Didn't matter. It's not the truth of who I am. And I let go of time. And I realized, well, the astrology and numerology and my birthday and all that stuff was all made up. It's all made up to keep me trapped in this little human body so that I think, oh my God, now I'm 50. I only have 50 more years and I've got to do this, and that. Then I got to set goals and then I've got to, you see the energy? I was like, no, it doesn't matter. So what? I live in every moment, not for the next birthday or the next vacation or the next this or that. Why? Why am I chasing all of that stuff? To what end? Where does it stop? Where do you stop consuming and chasing? So that's time. Time does not exist. It is a mortal concept. Level 6, I'm sorry, that was level 6. And then level 7 is when you get to Samael. Samael, or the devil, or Yaldabaoth is what they call him. He is a tyrant. He is an ignorant little child. He's literally like a kid throwing a temper tantrum. Look at any tyrants out there. The one of North Korea, for example. He is a tyrant. He is a little boy trapped in a man's body who wants to play God and use blunt force and fear and all these other tactics to keep his people subservient. That's weak. Weak. So when you get to Samael, if you can view him for the truth of who he is, and here's the thing, listen, I ain't mad at Samael, the devil, whatever you want to call him, because he was created flawed from the beginning. He couldn't help himself. It's like I'll give you an example of my son. If I let my son do whatever he wants, he's 16 now. If I let him do whatever he wants with no guidance, with no structure, with none of that, and I just let it go, guess what you're going to get? A Samael. This may be a little more extreme because Samael really, really went to an extreme, but at the same time, as a god who is much bigger in energy than him, it doesn't matter to me. It shouldn't matter to you either. He has no power over you. The minute you fall into fear or guilt or shame or lust or greed or any of those lower level vibrations, because that's what's down here. That's why most people don't meditate, because when you start to meditate and you lower yourself, or you go into your subconscious, your lower levels, it gets shaky. They're doing that on purpose. It's being done on purpose because we don't want you to know the truth about who you are. They don't want you to be God here. He doesn't want you to be God here because then he can't control you. Nobody can control you. Nothing. So that's why it's difficult. But you have to sit through it. Even the most difficult beliefs, understandings, ideas, concepts, you have to work through them. And choose. Do I believe that? Is that who I am? Is that who I'm going to be? Am I willing to go through this, what people call ego death? But see, here's the funny part. The ego death is literally at level 6. That's understanding time doesn't exist. And at that level is the fear of death. And if you make it through that level, then you get to the fake God, Samael. Most people don't get past Samael because they think that's God. That's not God. That's not God. And you have to keep going. You have to keep going all the way back to God, the real God, like I mentioned before, which is 0. There is no polarity. There is no duality. There is no this or that. It just is. It's really important to understand those. Check out that video. I'm not affiliated with them whatsoever, but they do an amazing job of explaining. And Mary Magdalene was correct. I've said this before. Her teachings were accurate. Tough part was she couldn't get her counterpart. She could not get Samael, Jesus, out of his trap. Now, after Jesus died and understood, then there was progress. But the thing is that we are going into a whole nother level. Whole nother level. Some of us are. And that whole nother level means that I'm living a reality all on my own. I'm literally a bubble within the ocean and untouchable, unreachable, unfuckwittable. I don't think that's a word, but it's kind of what it's like. And I'm just flowing with everything. I realize that's not real. That's not real. I don't subscribe to that. Which makes it really difficult in some aspects to exist here, because very few people are going to get that or even reach that level and do the steps that I'm teaching you to get to that level. At some point they will come back and hopefully review these things that I've explained. But from this point, for me, First off, let me tell you how much I love you and I thank you for listening. Because my goal really truly was to stop the enslavement, to free people, to get them out of this trap. But I realized I have to get myself out of this trap. It's really all about me. It's really all about you. Yes, this is the pathway I'm teaching you, I'm showing you, I'm telling you. I will help guide you later if it so happens to be that way that we meet. But this is yours. You have to be willing to make the sacrifices and make the decisions and the choices for yourself, to put yourself first. There is only me. And people say, oh my God, you can't play God. You can't be God. That's so selfish. Yep, those are the people that are stuck. Move on. I don't even listen. I'm on a totally different timeline. And I don't have the capacity, and I will not put forth the energy to help those people. I'm going to exist at my level, doing my things, proving and showing the truth. And those that can come up with me and go with me, great. Those that don't, you are left where you are choosing to be. I'm not leaving you behind. I'm leaving you where you are choosing to be. Don't you dump that stuff onto me. See, project. No, you ain't projecting your bullshit on me. I get it. So, from here forward, for me, and again, I thank you very much, is I am moving into what I call the prove it phase. Prove it phase means I'm going to go out there and I'm going to live my life. Well, it's not really my life. I'm going to exist. I'm going to be the truth of who I am. And I'm no longer going to teach probably from this perspective like this, but I don't really know. Well, I'm going to wait and see what happens. See how this all unfolds. But just know that I love you and I thank you for your time, for your attention. I wish you all the very, very, very best, of course. Of course, I really want people to be free because it's really hard to be alone. But at the same time, here's what I've learned, because last time I did not like being alone. And so I stopped myself from moving forward because I was scared. Because I could hear people's thoughts and specifically what they were saying about me. And the miracles that I could do was making me a target. And I freaked out. I'm not freaking out this time. I like being alone. I'm comfortable being alone now. It's different. Because I know I am God. God is within me. Not only within me, but I push so much of this energy out of me, deleting and dissolving the illusion, these attachments and connections to all of this stuff, that they don't bother me anymore. It's not me. It's not true. It's not real. I don't care. I really don't give a fuck. It's like, okay. And I move on. It's a really interesting space to be in, and I love it because I've reached my independence, my sovereignty, my understanding of self. And I am number one. It's me. Do I need another person to complete me? No. No, I do not. And I will not, and you shouldn't settle for anything less, ever. Because once you settle, you just lowered yourself. It doesn't matter who it is, family, friends, jobs, career, anything. You go down this path, you go down this road with me, it's lonely. But at the same time, you want to truly liberate yourself and become the truth, that's what it's going to take. You're going to have to walk the path alone, but just know that God is right there with you. But you got to get through this illusion shit. I love you. Okay, have a great day.